vengeance.
To clean the trash can of society, I've chosen to become more than a man. I am the hero this town needs. I am the king.
First off, let me say this will be a spoiler-free review, and the only things you might consider to be spoilers are things already shown in the previews. So if you want to go into this movie knowing absolutely nothing, I encourage you to go watch it before you watch this review. With that being said, The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, and Robert Pattinson as the Batman, who you may remember was in, you know what? Let's just move on from those. So, what's the short answer to my overall review? Well, I rank movies and TV shows on a scale from 1 to 5. A 5 is freaking awesome, a 4 is pretty good, a 3 is not complete crap, a 2 is retarded, and a 1 is it sucked hard. I give The Batman a 4. It's pretty good. I didn't walk out of the theater thinking this would be the movie of the year or that it was better than some of the movies Nolan directed, but I had a great time and enjoyed watching this movie. I was never bored or felt like I was being preached at with 2022 politics. It was money well spent. So let's get into the details. The acting. I wasn't sure how I felt about Pattinson playing Batman, but overall, I thought he did a great job with what they were trying to do. He's a bit different than past iterations before him, but still believable. Zoe Kravitz made a great Catwoman, and the chemistry between her and Pattinson on screen felt natural. Jeffrey Wright's Gordon had a few scenes where I thought he felt a bit on the nose, but still good, and everyone else was just fine too. The setting. Gotham felt like it had its own identity in this movie. It was always dark, gritty, and bleak, which is what Gotham should feel like. Crime and corruption was a huge aspect to not only the setting but the overall story as well. It felt like a city where a vigilante dressed up like a bat would really belong. The action. One thing that affected every aspect of this movie, from the plot to the setting and even the action, was a grounded sense of realism. There were no superpowers, mutated enemies, or over-the-top CGI. I never even felt like the main characters, including Batman, even had plot armor. Because of this, the fight scenes were believable but slow. They didn't leave me with a sense of awe and amazement, but they did make me feel more nervous and on edge because the characters felt human and grounded, and therefore more vulnerable. It felt like if someone actually tried to become Batman in real life, it would look something like this, and for the most part, I think it worked. Even the fight scenes with Selina Kyle fighting off fully grown men were structured in a way where she used her environment or athletics to beat them. No Mary Sue's here. Sorry, Ray.
Meow.
Finally, the most important part for me, the story. As we know from the trailers, the story centers around a younger Batman following clues left behind by the villain known as the Riddler. He's aided by his butler Alfred, played by the awesome Andy Serkis, as well as James Gordon in an attempt to solve the murders. It feels like a crime thriller, heavily focused on a detective in a batsuit, which I personally really enjoyed. There's several times Pattinson displays cunning and sharpness, making him always feel like he's 2 steps ahead of the police and the criminals, which is balanced out nicely with watching his frustrations at always being 2 steps behind the Riddler. The plot flows well, not feeling like a 3-hour-long movie, and there were many times I thought I knew what was going on, only for something to happen or a character to say a line to completely reshape my perception of what was really happening. I'm sure there were a few missteps and a few nitpicks I can make. Looking back on the overall story, it did feel a little rough around the edges at times, needing a little bit more polish, and if someone found some serious complaint about this film, it would probably be in how they portrayed Batman. Batman is one of the most iconic characters in the world, and most die-hard fans have an idea of what he should be like, and this Batman may be very different than that. And so not every person is going to enjoy this movie as much as I did, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Either way, if you're looking for a fun time and a pretty good movie to watch, I highly encourage you to check out The Batman. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great freaking day.